this button. We should be good. Let's put some slip solution in. Front doors, full windshield. 3 ounces, because that's in a bit. Because that's deserving of that much slip solution, right? Oh, this way. Let's go this way. And then clamp that down. Do a little shake. Fill that up. Double check. Those are connected. That's good. We are live. I think it says, yes, we is. What's up? We got a voice. All right. Perfect. So we let this fill up. That sounds full to me. Let's put this over here. One click. 2 clicks. Love it. Nice. All right, let's tape some seals. How do I avoid creases? What's up, Louis? Dose? How do I avoid creases when two-staging? There's different levels there. You just don't want to push very hard. So, if you've ever seen a foldy phone, they're not actually bending a hard crease into the phone on those bendy screens. They're like rolling it over. So it'll get a little pressure, and you might get a small bend in it, but that should be easy to heat out. If you have like a really hard crease or something, then you're pressing too hard. Tips to get quicker. Tell your customers it'll be done in 2 hours, and then try and stick to it. Then you like feel this intense pressure to speed up. The way that I got faster was I worked under pressure at shops, and I didn't really have a choice because I would be tinting at a much slower pace. And you see, I generally do tint at a medium slowish pace. So if I'm left to like my own thing, I'll slow down. But if I have to speed up, I still can. But what you'll find is there's a lot of steps that you're gonna do that you don't necessarily have to do. That's mostly like extra cleaning steps, covering certain things, being slow with like your movements. Keep your tools on hand and just go through it. Why put tape? Good question. These are felt seals. So see all those little fuzzies? So I get the main portions, so I don't have to deal with those fuzzies getting into my work. Basically is what that does. Let's go Detroit. And reminder, we have a 5% off everything going through this month right now. So if you use code 313 at 313tint, code 313tint at 313tint.com, that's what it is. See, I wrote it down so I remember. 313tint, this is the code. .com is the website. 5% off Tint and Tools. Tint and Tools, derp. We got there. Where do you buy door covers? That place right there. That's where we get them. Let's wipe this off. I should have wiped this off when I had this rolled down. Okay, I'm pulling up on the switch and it's wanting to go down on me. Okay, we got that. Do you find the plastic helps with less contamination as well as keeping the door card dry? No, it's to keep the door card dry. It's not gonna keep contamination out of your work. I mean, unless you have a habit of dragging your tint along the door panel, then yes, it would. But your dirt comes from struggling. Very little, like, your floors can be made of sand, and you can still turn out a good tint job. The reasons that sand would get into your work is maybe you literally kicked up a bunch, like you walked and literally went, and then that got into your work. Or there was a breeze. But if you control your environment and your air movement is pretty minimal, like, you can put out really good work in a pretty messed up looking space. So, see this felt right here? This gets wet, and then all these little pieces fall into your work. So what I'm doing is I'm covering the majority of this up, the stuff that would really give me trouble. You could take it a step further and cover stuff in here, but just tape it in a way where it's not just gonna try and flap in your way. That's why I only tint or tape the main portions. Did you get the toolbox set up with the glass attached? The glass was custom, so it's just a New Age Pro series, which is a nice looking cabinet set. And then we took some glass barn doors and we literally, like, so this is just angle bracket. I'll show you on the back side. See how there's wood pieces in here? We cut those, screwed them into the top, and then that's just like hanging glass shower doors, basically. So we have those like custom cut to the size of the cabinet. But everything was kind of measured out in a way where this could work. So they'll seamlessly kind of like fit into the cabinet space and then they'll move out of your way. It's nice. I like it. Okay, so we need some film. We are doing, sorry, we're doing carbone. We're gonna do 20, and then we'll come back and we'll grab 35 for the windshield. How do you stop microfiber cloth from getting fiber left in the car? What do you mean? Like fibers from the microfiber towel is getting into the tint? Is that what's going on? Have you been able to try XR compared to Geo? No, actually, I haven't. The cloth, wow, what a wide door. Look at that. 36, boom, boom, barely is gonna fit, and I gotta tilt it at an angle. Actually, I bet you a 36 would fit this way, wouldn't it? Would it? These aren't that tall, are they? Let me just set this here. We'll find out. We'll find out the hard way. I got a lot of 20. I'm not gonna be sad. I'd rather do these normal vertical than flip them on its side. Nice shop, walking back and forth. Way too much to your cart, so you need to have supplies on both sides. I know. I know. I kind of do, and I kind of don't. What happens is I'll put stuff on that side, and then I'll bring it back over here, and then I'll forget to leave stuff over there. But having glass on that side with as much as we use the glass boards now would help. I for sure do way too much walking around the car. Does the tint go on the outside of the glass? Oh, it does fit. Look at that. Look at that. Well, that's one way to do it. 36-inch roll split in half. Ooh, I like the color. It's Tri-Edge's other new squeegee blade. I've tried the blue one, and they just sent me the other one. Is there a tint you would suggest to help learning? TV is decent because it's inexpensive. Whatever film you're going to learn with, you want it to be fairly straightforward to shrink because shrinking is hard enough already. So avoid cheap carbon films and cheap ceramic films. TV on Amazon, though, is like a tough deal to beat because it's like $100 for an inexpensive dyed roll. And I've tried it, and it behaves similarly to like stuff that we use. So that'd be a good bet. Something that you don't feel so bad about throwing away, because you will. You will buy a 100-foot roll, and you will throw all of it in the trash. How do you not cut the gaskets? I don't slice into them because of how we cut. So first, we just poke a grain of rice-sized blade tip. How did he say it? See that little blade right there? That pokes right out there? That's all you do. You just do the very little tip there. And then when you're making your cut, you're going to angle your knife away from the seal. So you're just using it as a guide. If I swing it inwards, that means the blade is facing inwards and it's going to shave a sliver or dig into the seal. So cut with little pressure going this way, but you're angled outwards, and you're not going to cut that. I had somebody come for a day class, and he said, like, just like a grain of rice sticking out. And I was like, that's exactly it. It's a good measurement there. I want to making sure this is straight here. That should be good. Ooh, that color. You don't see a squeegee blade with that color. It's nice. All right, we're going to roll the window down some, and we need to get a new carbon blade. So we use these. These are stainless steel blades. We use these for all our general cutting. And I use these carbon blades just for the top edge. Carbon will scratch glass, so that's why we just use them for the very top. And these are also like paper thin. They're like half the thickness of the other blades. So they don't snag, and we use them in a basic plastic knife holder. So I like this because it's got a squared off end here. So it's easier to cut. So you hear this? So you can just, and it catches the top edge of the glass. And you just basically hold your knife angled forward. And make your cut. And then your hand goes into the mirror because you're a dum-dum. And then you need to go back in the other direction. Ta-da! We have a nice pretty top edge. What are your thoughts on doing the windshield? And it already has factory tint on a 68 Camaro. What? Are those like two separate questions? Like, I tint windshields all the time, we're gonna do this. There should be no factory tint on a 68 Camaro. I tint windows for about 13 years, thanks to you. Oh, hell yeah. It's about when I started the channel. Oh, at the top of the windshield. Just that? Yeah, that's definitely an older thing that they used to do. You don't see that as much anymore. You can tint straight over that. You can't get rid of it. It's just like a dyed band at the top. But yeah, don't let it stop you from tinting the windshield. Just go nuts. I thought it's illegal to put tint on the windshield. Not if you have a doctor's note. So it'd be illegal for you. And maybe depending on what state you live in and or country. Would you recommend 5% on all the windows of a Tahoe and 30% on a windshield? That would look sweet. Go for it. It's a $25 fix-it ticket. Is that the cheapest thing that they have in Cali? I don't even think you can get food for $25. Here it's like 100 something. And 2 points. They don't really rate it as a fix-it ticket here. In Canada, it's not legal at all. That's a bummer. I'm debating on doing 5 all the way around and 30 on the windshield. I've always been 20% all the way with 30 on the shield. Ooh, I can't make that decision for you. If I talk too much, it'll sway you out of it, though. So I don't know if you want that. The tint on the outside? Yeah, this is 65 mile an hour tint. So if you go to 70, it rips off. Free removals at 70. What's a good squeegee to use? I mean, every squeegee at 313tint.com is a good squeegee. A good all-around one. Like, if you want the best all-around window tint squeegee, for me, it's the Fusion Hybrid. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's two-sided, so you can consider it at $10 a side, rather than like $14 for one side. It's the one we typically use. We use it for cleaning, we use it for insulation, it lasts a long time. It's awesome. It's just a great all-rounder. Everyone hyped up the Corvette rear windshield, but it was easier than I expected. Yeah, it's really straightforward. I've had a grand total of one convertible one in here. The green extension cables? Yeah, those are Flexzilla. I really like their flexibility, actually. They're really nice. Same thing for the hoses. They make really nice flexible airline hose. It's what we're using for our water lines. I had tint on my Camaro for a minute, but it was bubbly AF. How do I take it to somebody that knows what they're doing? It's really easy to try and install tint yourself and just screw it up in about 100 different ways. I want a chair. This is like, I don't need a chair for this, but this window is like, it's just a little bit low. This is better. I like this. Like a tall stool. Gives me a better angle on this. I like that. I've been trying to talk myself out of the 5% all the way around and 30% on the shield just because it doesn't seem practical. Then go for like a 15 and make yourself feel a little bit better. You're right. You're gonna. I will talk you out of it. You're gonna feel like you're gonna get pulled over all the time if you do 5 and 30. Anytime you pass a cop, you're gonna like try and loop around somewhere else. Like you're gonna hate that part of it. I also had 5% on my front windows for a grand total of 10 minutes. I spent a lot of time and I made them look really good. And I got in the car, closed both doors, and I was like, nope. And I peeled it off. Generally, people always wish they went darker, but the jump from 20 to 5 is pretty substantial. I wish that 10 was more of a thing. I feel like 10 would be a hot seller. Exactly for that reason. Like, I don't want to quite go 5, but come on, don't you have something in between 20? There should be. 15's as close as it commonly gets, but there are a few 10s. It's just you don't see it very much. What about 15? Yeah, 15 is really nice. It makes you feel better. There is a little difference. It doesn't look, because it's only a 5% difference, so it doesn't look much different, but it is different. But if you, like, I'll put it this way. If you put 20 on the front doors and you put 5 on the, or put 20 on the front doors, put 15 on the rear doors, we would have, at like a shop I used to work for, we would have clients call us liars and said we put the same shade. And it's like, no, it's, and you put a meter on it and there is in fact a difference. It's just like on a bright sunny day, you're really not gonna be able to see a difference. Not much anyways, but you'll know. You'll know there's a 5% difference. How much per door? I mean, if you just want one window, it's 60. But if you get like a package, it's a little less expensive. I hate when it does that. Like picks one spot sometimes when you put it in the seal and it just freezes. Ooh, that is a pretty cut. Hi. My wife. There we go. That looks nice. I like that. Is it possible to damage car speakers? It's possible to damage anything. It's a question I get a lot, like, hey, aren't you literally forcing that water down inside the door? And my reply is nice, but if you knew anything about when it rains on your car and you knew where that water was going, you'd probably be more upset that water is always getting into your car. But I did have, there's a speaker here, and there's a speaker here on quite a few vehicles, but on a Durango, I did have a situation where some water ran along here, hopped down the speaker wire, went straight to a module, and that module wasn't happy. That was not a fun day. So be extra careful on Durangos. All right, looks good. Let's roll this up. I want to do my truck. Do you think it'd be hard to do? Trucks are generally one of the easiest types of vehicles to do. Get some film, get some tools, play around and see how you like it. You might become a window tinter. I don't know. Everybody's different. There was one guy that showed up at my shop with a Ram, and he's like, I want to get the windshield done, and I just did these doors myself yesterday. And I'm like, have you tinted before? He's like, no, this is the first time I did it. And I shit you not, they looked as good as most professionals doing it. Some people just have a knack for it. But it's definitely not ever as straightforward as what it seems for most people. It's a lot of little details to pay attention to. Yeah, sure enough. He did a great job on his front doors. All I had to do was his windshield. I tinted a windshield on a BMW 850 convertible, and the dash burns out because it parked on the sun. Do you know why? I don't know what you mean by burns out because it parked on the sun, but I'm not a detective, but off of that statement, I would suspect it has something to do with tinting the windshield. So, I mean, I see these types of questions a lot in our Facebook group. There is no great answer ever for I tinted a windshield and now stuff is acting funny. Do you know why? Or do you know what I can do to fix it? Something got wet that shouldn't have gotten wet. It's a BMW 850. Dude, when you go up in the BMW numbers, each series has more and more shit that can go wrong. It's like a Mercedes C-Class is not a Mercedes S-Class. They pack so much shit in the S-Class because they can. So when you go from like a 3 Series to an 8 Series, you just gotta be extra cautious. Cover stuff up twice as good. Just be careful. You can never treat it like any other car. Or else you might have that situation. Doesn't mean you will, but you can. And that's what it sounds like happened, unfortunately. So, I do not have a good answer for you. It's always, maybe it'll dry out. Something might have gotten burned, like shorted, and it might cost you a lot of money to fix. I had to think of you yesterday when I was doing a Peugeot 206. I asked myself, what would Uncle Matt do in this situation? I like it. Uncle Matt has no idea because he's never tinted a Peugeot 206. but the logic is sound. What would Uncle Matt do? Do you know anything about Rock Rose Tint? I know they're a cheap competitor to other cheap competitors. It's just your latest, not even like your latest. It's just like your next cheap film brand. I don't know. Saving some pennies and crossing your fingers that it doesn't blow up to your face in dollars of repairs down the road. I don't really gamble that way. Is GeoShield the same product as Union window films? No, I don't think so. But I don't know where Union comes from. Geo utilizes like 5 different distributors or manufacturers. So you actually cannot point to any one particular GeoShield and say, this is this company. Or this film is just like this one across the board. I was not having a good time with that Peugeot. GeoShield 5% ceramic, good to see out. Any of their films are good to see out. I mean, 5% is 5%, so, you know, if you're driving down a dark road, it's still going to be tough to see. You're blocking 95% of the light, but during the daytime, it's great. Like, any decent brand's percentage in any shade is going to be fine. It's when you go for shitty brands, that's where it can bite you in the butt. Because they're cheaping out on something. They have to. That's why they're at that price point. What's a good price to tint all your windows out black? I have no idea. What are the top 2 best brands? The ones that you hear a lot. So I don't know the top 2 necessarily, but it's probably going to be like 3M and Axbel and Lumar. Ceramic Pro might be in there. More so in, not quite just window tinting, but from ceramic coatings. They still have good searchability. There's just nobody really talks about them. So probably Axbel, 3M, Lumar. Probably in that order. From like a consumer perspective. What's the best tint for a home? Oh, well, no, wait, a remove tint at home. Oh, those are wildly different. I read that completely wrong. Steamer, always a steamer. You can get some LA's Totally Awesome. You can find it at like a Home Depot or a dollar store. And then get some blue scrubbies. Not the green ones, the blue scratch-free ones. And then you take a fabric steamer and steam it off the glass. And then whatever adhesive it leaves behind, you can spray it with that and scrub it off. On the doors, just rip it off and spray some soapy water and use some razor blades. But on the back window, you need to be a little bit more thorough. You can't take razor blades to those. I don't have AC. Will tint help during the summer? Yes and no. I mean, ceramic is not magic. Your car is still a metal box. It will still get hot. The beauty in ceramic is that it kind of acts like it absorbs the heat and then it lets it dissipate off the car. So you're still, like summertime, you're still probably going to be driving with your windows down. But if you are driving from a garage where the temperature has been somewhat maintained out into the sun, it'll be much more comfortable. I would 100% get my AC fixed, though, before I got my windows tinted. The AC will be more beneficial. Is GeoShield made in China? No, it is not. The tint brush made in China? I saw a post that looked like it was, but I don't know. That reminds me. So Tint Buster sent me one. Thank you. And we can use it on this windshield. And then somebody else sent me one. There was no like sender, just an address. So thank you. Does Geo pay you to be affiliated with a brand? We sell their film on our site. You could go to Walmart and get a wallpaper brush. Yeah, that would probably work. I haven't tried a wallpaper brush. The tint brush has firmer bristles than I thought it would. I thought it would feel quite a bit softer than it does, but I love so the idea is great. It didn't really click with me till later, but especially for newer people. When you squeegee a window, you're trying to distribute that film as evenly as you can because you don't want it to bunch up anywhere. So what a tint brush does is it helps you fan out the film before you hard squeegee any areas to the window. Now, why that's important is because what can happen is you can bunch film up in a spot and then it'll suck dirt back in or you'll crease the film. Most of the time you're going to have fingers popping back up because you force a bunch of film to like gather in a particular area, and that's where you get those fingers from. So I can be there with somebody trying to teach how to just squeegee out a windshield or a back window or a door window, any window. And I will say, start here and work your way out. And then they'll start over here and they'll jump over here and they'll push stuff down here. And I'm just like, what the hell was that? And then I'll show them again and they'll go, okay. And then they'll do the complete opposite of what I just showed. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what that happens. You could literally say, okay, I want you to spin around in a circle, and then they'll just like walk straight into a wall. And you're like, okay, that wasn't spinning around in a circle, but we did something. Maybe you're not as cracked up as a teacher as you think you could be. That could be it. That could be it. But when you physically show, take your squeegee, put it in this hand, push in this direction, and then they take that squeegee, put it in a different hand, and then do something completely different. You're like, something there isn't translating. But the number of people that we have seen literally never touch film and then learn heat shrinking by the end of the class has been very encouraging. Oh yeah, we need 35 brain fart moments. No, I know, and it's fine. It's just makes you question just how you say everything. And so like that does like I teach differently from the first class than I do now. Largely still doing the exact same things. It's just the way that you, like the order you present stuff, how you present it, how you talk about it, like all those details, they definitely add up. This is a 40-inch roll of 35. I'm gonna be sad when this is missing one day, so I'm gonna keep it back here and want to just use that. This is C25, so we're gonna grab this one. My local installer has 3M tints. Are they any good? They should be. The thing that always throws me off about 3M is you'll like hear a 3M price, or like you'll hear the 3M name with like a super low price, and that's always a telltale sign that it's not, because the cost of their roll will be like 4 of whatever they say it is. So if they're like, yeah, I can do it in 3M for $200. It's like, well, yeah, that 3M roll probably cost them like $800 if it was actually 3M. How dark can I go? How dark do you want to go? You want to do 2? Do 2 on everything. How do you feel about Wincos or charcoal? Okay, so charcoal, I couldn't take a name like that seriously if I tried. It's kind of how I feel about the name Cool View a little bit, but Cool View is better than charcoal. I don't know who charcoal is. But Wincos, also weird name. Weird film, but it was, I had a chance to do one door. Crazy different. It was thick, it was rubbery, but it was very good and very clear. A little blue, a little too blue. But like it turned out way nicer than it felt. It's just really thick stuff, and I made a comment about that. And the rep that was out here said that was after it had already been made thinner. It used to be thicker. So like a roll of Wincos is like a roll of vinyl, and it comes on a vinyl spool. It was so heavy. It's so different. So dark, I need reparation. What makes film good? Close to 100% IR and UV. What makes film good? Something that literally doesn't have to do with specs, which is kind of annoying because that means there's no good way to measure it. No, I see I wish I wish clarity was a thing. So like they'll actually have some clarity measurement, but they won't ever like post a clarity measurement. I wish there was some like universal way of saying, oh, this film is going to be, this adhesive is going to last for X amount of years. The clarity is going to be at least this good. And then give me like a color swatch of the film along with an IR number. But I don't get a clarity number. I don't get a color swatch unless I have the film. But a few universal ways of measuring that would be great. But here's what everybody's going to do. They're going to say, our films have a lifetime warranty. IR blocks 95+% for like the top tier ceramics. And that's it. So most like good window film companies all have good competing products. That if you put one on your windshield, or if you put, let's say you put three, you put one here, one here, one there. You have 3 different films on your windshield. They're all gonna have a little different hue. They're all gonna have slightly different specs, but they're all basically gonna be the same. So when you're just shopping in a certain tier, they're basically gonna be the same. Would you recommend Pro Nano or Apex for clarity? So both films are gonna be very clear. I would go with C2 ceramic or Apex. C2 ceramic just has a more neutral color tone to it. And it's got 1 layer of ceramic. Apex has 2 layers. So Pro Nano is basically like an alternative to C2. But all of them are going to be clear. Do you make your towels with auto fiber or the rag company? No. No, we buy some towels from the rag company. The gray ones that we use and have in the shop, we buy those from the rag company. These purpley ones are super nice, though. We don't get these from the rag company. This is our latest hobby right now. Look at that. We're literally like lightly laser engraving our logo. So this is our fun setup. I have to use my phone. Here, let me set up one. I'll see if I can do it quick. You guys can see it in action. Let's find a good spot on this one. So we're gonna line this up here. And I need my phone because my other phone that I use to do the laser engraving, I'm using for streaming. Let's create. Here, I'm gonna reset this and make sure it connects. Oh, not this one. This was the other Detroit Tint Studio logo. I was trying that out. So we're gonna connect to this guy. And then, hang on, let me pull up my logo here. Look at it. There we go. So we got that. So we're gonna make this generically big. And then we're going to preview. See that? We can make it a little bit bigger. Let's do that. How do we go back? Let's make it just a little bit bigger. And then click preview. That's better. I like that. That's going to be nice. And then we're going to click next. Send. We do like 80, 16, and then 1. Start. Look at that. See that little dot? We'll come back to that one in like 5 minutes. What brand flooring? Race Deck. I got a deal on a good amount of it. Usually they'll have it on sale for somewhere like in the low 3s. But I built this in chunks. So like this green section here, I had that size in a 2-car garage, and I had that for probably about 2.5 years, and then I added some to it later on. And then March of last year, I went all out and bought the rest of the floor and filled the whole space. But it would be anywhere from like $3 to $4 a square. You can also look at Beaver. I had a student say that Beaver had the exact same tiles. I don't know if they're the exact same quality, but they're definitely the exact same pictures and shape. How much was it to fill the whole space? It's about 2,500 square feet, I think, to like 3,000, somewhere in that range. Probably like 2,500 to 2,800 square feet. You can get the same tiles from Temu. There's a lot. There's a lot of different floor tiles. I can't speak on quality because I just haven't tried them. It's really easy to rip off the shape and give a cheaper price. Maybe it's the exact same tile. I don't know. But I know Snap Together Flooring is like all over those sites now. And quality will be turd. It very well could be. Look at that. Oh, I like how my text-to-speech keeps saying 3 meters. All he's saying is 3M, and it's like assuming you're saying meters. What's your opinion on 3M if it is genuine? 3M makes decent products. I think they make, I don't know, the general consensus is that it's overpriced for what it is. It's not that it's bad film. It's just like there's better value in other films. And 3M is great as an architectural film company, but there isn't that same type of demand for their automotive line. So I think if you have a customer, like just to be real, if you have a customer that's doing some research and pretty set on like a brand, they're gonna be shopping Expel, 3M, or Lumar, and then it comes down to probably the price. The price in the shop. So for most average tint shops, it's gonna matter less because most tint customers don't necessarily shop that way. But you do lose out on the people that do shop that way. So like me as a GeoShield dealer, I'm probably not going to have somebody call me that is looking for 3M tint or likes 3M or Expo. Even though I'll give them a extremely competitive rate and just as good of a product, if not better in certain categories. But brand is brand. Which film brand do you prefer more? For a lot of reasons, Geo. I've seen plenty of people with purple tint. How can they go around with purple? Because they'll call a shop to see about getting it removed, or they won't know anything about it. We had a student attend one of our classes, and he thought there was a problem with his glass. He didn't know it was old film on there. Like, some of it's just like people don't know. People don't want to spend the money. You could call a shop and say, hey, I have purple windows. I want to get that fixed. And then they'll quote you like $500+. And it'll be like, yeah, no, I guess I'll drive around with it. Thanks. Been using Geo a few years. I never had an issue. That's always good. $500 to remove tint. It would generally be like removal and reinstallation. But yeah, if it was strictly just removal, it would be less than that, depending on who you called. Usually a couple $100, sometimes a little bit less. But like if you're talking about like old purple tint, they generally just get higher rates because it's like a telltale sign that it's like for sure going to be a pain in the butt. But yeah, when you're like, well, if I'm getting it removed, I might as well get it retinted. That's where you start hearing quotes like that. And then it's like, well, I don't want to just... A lot of people don't want to pay to just have it removed. It's like fixing your car. It's like if it's still driving and it's not actively stopping, then it's like, I'll just do that another day. How do you know when it's time to squeege? Okay, that's a really, really good question. So I'm looking for a pattern in the film. So the goal is to get the shape of the glass. So this film is loose, and what I'm doing is I'm heating it up until we see these air pockets go sideways. It was like this, and then it shrinks down, and it keeps pulling, it shrinks together, and you get these tension lines. When you see these nice, soft tension lines going in this direction, that's when it's time to squeege. You just match up your card with the direction that is facing. So out the corners and the edge, it goes like this. Readjust that one, push these straight up into that loose film area, and then we continue to shrink. It's just those rules. You stick to that, you can shrink damn near anything. When the waves form, yes. My ocean wave analogy. We are creating little ocean waves. They are headed into a shoreline. Your job is to identify when it looks like an ocean wave and push it into the shoreline that it would go into if it was an actual wave. So these are straight. If they were little waves, they would go in this direction. We just push in that direction. Same thing here, same thing here. So these are straight. Out towards the edges, this kind of curves a little bit. So we start pushing it in that direction. This one's kind of angled this direction, so we push it in that direction. All you're doing is stretching and pulling your film out over the window. Granny's wrinkles. That is another analogy we could use. I don't think I want to, but it checks out. It's a weird analogy, but it checks out. Are you doing the windshield? I thought they always did the inside of the windshield. We've had this question like 5 times in the past 5 minutes. We'll get there. I want to say something snarky, but we'll get there. I want to see somebody should make a video installing, it's probably me, right? I probably got to do that. Installing window tint on the inside of the windshield, 100%. Like, no cutting on the outside, no shrinking on the outside. Do what your customers expect you to do. We're going to install this on the inside from scratch. Let's go. We're molding it. Tint is a big sticker. So what we're doing is we're shaping it to fit that curve. Then we're going to trim it to size, and then it's going to get installed. So otherwise, there's no space to mold it and shape it. Should we cut it? Trim it? There's no good way to trim it. I bet somebody could do it, though. The 100% inside windshield challenge. Cut, shrink, and install a windshield on the inside of the window, never touching the outside. Good luck. So we're heating these vertical fingers, this loose film, still a little bit up here, until it turns into ocean waves. If it doesn't look like an ocean wave, keep hitting it with some heat. They should look like defined ocean waves. Like this. See? Now this is my ocean, and these are going to my shoreline. See this wave here? See how it's curved? It's not just going straight up. And we don't want to just take a card and go like this and push the air out of it. We're taking this film, we're stretching this flat. That's what we're doing. So imagine I was using my hands instead of just a card to push this forward. We would take it and we would pull it this way, and we'd pull it this way, and we'd pull it this way. That's what we're doing with the card. Just put little like hands on it. I don't know. I don't know how to give you guys that visual. And look, we have a nice, pretty Detroit Tint Studio towel now. Do you know how nice, how fun this is? Look at this. We just got a whole big stack of them now. We just take this.
It's your hardest working employee right there.
I know.
Cheapest one too.
It's so cheap. confirm, repeat, start, and then we start doing another one. I love it. That's so nice. When prepping a back glass on a charger, when do you know you have to scrub with steel wool? Chargers, 300s, Mustangs, and Challengers. Those all have thick defroster lines. I still wouldn't scrub them with steel wool. I don't like steel wool. Steel wool sheds little steel wool bits and then leaves steel wool in my tint job steel wool. At least when I used to use it for removals. I just never really liked the stuff. I'll use a clay bar or a scrubby pad, and I will turn on the rear defrosters when I go to clean it. If you turn on the rear defrosters, it fixes that issue. But you have to turn on the defrosters before you install the tint. And they just need to get nice and hot. So the perfect time to do it is when you jump into the car to clean it right before you install it. Turn on the car, turn on the rear defrosters. And there you go. I've got quite a few videos doing it. I used to make a yearly PSA, but I like hardly ever see chargers in person anymore. I used to get them all the time. I turned on the defrosters and clay barred with no change, huge peanuts. What film are you using? And did you turn it on? Did you turn it on before? Or did you put the film on there and then turn on the defrosters? It's got to be before the film is on the glass. I turned it on, cleaned, installed back rolling it. And you still have, what film? That's the right order. And I'll leave them on during the rest of the installation. Scorpion, ceramic, and Solar Guard. Yeah, Scorpion's got a shit adhesive. Solar Guard, I don't know. I haven't tried, but I installed Scorpion a grand total of 2 or 3 times. And the adhesive was like, dude, it was bad. I did not like that film. We were covering for another window tinter that was using it. We went out to an account for like a week. And we did some cars, and I never had so many fingers pop up at the bottom of the back window. I don't know what was wrong with their adhesive, but it was bad. This was a long time ago, too. I don't know. Maybe it's not made for every film then. I've done that trick for, what was it, ASWF, for Helios, for, what else was used in that time frame? There's a lot of ASWF, and then we switched. Avery. Avery was another one. I've used that trick on all those films, and it worked. So... honestly, the new Ceramic Plus Scorpion is amazing with clarity and heat rejection. That's cool. But if it's bubbling up on those back windows, ugh. That would just be my first thought. My only thought on, like, why is this film bubbling up on these defroster lines? That's an adhesive issue, for sure. An adhesive issue with those defrosters. So, like, the defrosters are causing the problem, but having a good adhesive helps. Not every film has a aggressive adhesive to it. Have you heard of the brand Luminous? Yep. This is what I put on my car. It did really well. Yeah, they got some pretty wild looking films. That and Omnique. As far as I can tell, it's like you can find Alibaba sellers with all that stuff. It's like the same exact type of stuff. Have you used Flex Film years ago? Never again. Yeah, all those films, as far as I can tell, are made in China. This doesn't mean they're bad. It's just it usually doesn't mean they're great. A lot of them fail. Ralph is your friend. Ralph wants to sell you film. If he can't sell you film, he's not your friend. Uh-oh, how do we get rid of this? This is an Alfa Stelvio. It's cold. It's definitely cold. We're 41 outside right now. What's your top 3 film brands? Oh. I mean, could I say GeoShield 3 times? Does that sound biased? Might be. Is Panaflex a good brand? It's not a brand. It's a film. I think. Isn't it? What's your thoughts on the removal tint? You mean the stuff that you can put on the window and then peel it off? You have like static cling, or are you asking me about film removals before we get too far into that? Yeah. It's the idea is really cool. It's a bit of a gimmick. So it depends on the videos that you're looking at. Because some of those sellers are showing you the outside of an actual tinted car with that film, with that removable stuff on the inside. So it's like, what's making it look good is the actual tinted window. What's making it look darker is the removable film. I think it's an awesome baby shade idea. It's not going to quite look the same. The idea is cool, though, of having a film or something that you could put there, temporary tint in your windows, not have to worry about it. Totally get it. But it's basically like sunglasses slash a sunscreen, like one of those screens that you put up on your windshield that like reflects the sun away. It would look like that except be tinted. So it's not going to make your glass look nice and tinted. That's for sure. If I take my car, can you do 5% all the way around? Yeah, we can do 5. You want to go 2? We can do 2. Yeah, so in like their TikTok videos, they're showing you what you want to see, so you like impulse buy it. I mean, I'd do the same thing. If I was a skeezy salesman like that, that's what I would do. It's got that gimmick enough to make it go like, oh wow, sweet. Oh, I'll just do this. But I saw earlier on, I don't know if they actually have like a tinted plexi now. I can't imagine that's would be difficult to find. But some people were taking tint, cutting it on a plotter, and literally tinting plexiglass and then shipping that to people, which is just not gonna last very long. Is the pink squeegee harder than the blue? It is. What do you think of pod gel for tint? What's pod gel? I don't know what pod gel is. Oh, PPF gel for tint. I'm looking into it. I want to try it, and I'm kind of like backyard sciencing some stuff here pretty shortly. I don't know. I could go off on a big tangent about this. When I was installing some PPF, this was before I ever used any type of PPF gel, because companies were sold out of it and I didn't know much about it. A rep told me, and it worked really well. He was like, take a spray bottle and put like a quarter of hand sanitizer in it, and then your regular soap mix. So it was like quarter water, 3/4, a quarter hand sanitizer, 3/4 water, and then a little bit of baby shampoo in there. And it was great. Hand sanitizer is basically an alcohol mix, like a gel alcohol mix. So for window tint, I think just at the installation portion, like you clean it off like normal, you go to install it, you spray a gel, and then it might help with keeping specks from running into your tint because it's more gel-like. But I don't know that gel kind of trailing down pillars and stuff like that. Little unsure about that. So I want to play around with the idea. Sounds cool. If it works, I'll talk to Gio about getting some made. We'll make one and we'll call it Tint Thick or something. Metro Tint done a video using PPF gel was good. Nice. The other thing too is just sheer costs. So no matter what, having a pre-mixed gallon of gel for installation is going to be more expensive than getting like a bottle of tint slip. GeoPPF says do not use alcohol with their PPF. Interesting. But so if you're a PPF shop and you already have gel laying around, it might be cool to like throw in a bottle and use. But I don't think your average tinner is necessarily going to want to spend what, 10, 15, $20 on like a 32-ounce bottle that they're going to go through within like a week. I just don't see that happening. Some people will, but it would have to make an incredible difference. And then, like I talked about with hand sanitizer, that's readily available in large quantities for less, and it will probably give you the same effect. So, like, because if there's a cheap alternative nearby, tinters will find it. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear other tinter thoughts. KY, I think you'd be at the extreme end of the cost spectrum, though. You start using KY as your gel solution. I mean, it might work great. It just might be extremely expensive for the amount that you need. Yeah, because what? We have like a 16-ounce bottle of tint slip for like, what is it? 17. What is it? I gotta look again exactly how much it is. How much is a bottle of tint slip? Like, that's competing with like baby shampoos. Baby shampoos have gone up in price, but like baby shampoos are still fine for the most part to tint with. It just depends on if it's more compatible with your film or not. Like, just is it slippery enough for your film to slide is all that is. That looks good. Ooh, oh my god, I forgot. I got a tint brush. 16 ounces, $18.99. Tint brushes. So
I've officially seen it all.
this is like the pink clean. Wallpaper brush. Yeah. Yeah, effectively. I thought the bristles would be like nicer. But Tint Buster sent it out. And then somebody else that didn't put their name on an envelope sent one out too. So I have 2 tint brushes. I have a secret admirer. So I think the idea is cool for certain people. I didn't need to do that. That's out of habit. It's already coded. So the problem with new people is they're going to take a squeegee and they're going to squeegee here, and then they're going to go up here, and they're going to go over here, and then they're going to push over here. They're just all over the fucking place. And then they have air bubbles trapped here and here and here, and they don't understand taking a squeegee, pushing out small sections, and doing like overlapping strokes in kind of like a radius from the middle and working your way out. So effectively what the tint brush does is it helps you fan out your film.
I like that it's wider and it just pushes a lot more water out at once.
Mm-hmm. So it's effectively like a wider paint clean is the way I would look at it. Which I kind of wish there was an 8-inch paint clean that I could just put in a 5-inch handle or something. Why not use a squeegee the same width as the tint brush? Yeah, that's kind of what we were just talking about. You have, is that Orange Crush in an 8-inch?
Yeah.
So the softest one that we have is an Orange Crush in an 8-inch, and you could do that. You either need to use the 8-inch handle along with it, or maybe you could use a 5-inch one. Let's find out. With science. Where's my paint clean? See, I got all these ones. Ooh, here's a handle. So we're gonna try it. We're gonna take a Orange Crush, put it in a 5-inch handle, and see if we get a similar effect. But I like the idea a lot. So one of these drawers, this one, Pink Clean. I like the Pink Clean for squeegeeing out the film first and evenly distributing it, just like you're doing with a tint brush. But the width difference is huge. So having something that's wider and soft, can you throw this out? It's not gonna tell me right now, but we'll just see like what kind of water I can kind of push out. I'm not trying to squeegee out like lots of water. I'm just trying to see if I can get that shape.
Oh, like if it'll conform?
Yeah.
It looks like it does. Let's see it flex a little bit. I can't tell how hard you're pushing.
Yeah, I'm not pushing all that hard, but I'm not seeing.
Why have we never tried it?
You know, if you go back and look at every single live stream, you'll see me with one of them take a hybrid.
I remember you did it with an 8-inch handle, though.
Oh, I don't know if I did an 8-inch handle.
But with the smaller handle, I kind of like that.
We should try it. We'll try this on the next windshield. It seems like it should just like, if you're trying to push out water, you're not going to do a great job. But if you're trying to evenly distribute film, this should also do a good job too as well. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll try it on the next windshield. Yeah, they have an 8-inch hybrid. But that's a hell of an expensive squeegee blade too. The funny thing too is like people knock on I don't think the brush should necessarily cost $40. But also a $30 handle from the Fusion, right? And then what's the blade cost? Like 20? So you're only really saving money if you already have a handle, which most people do. And then you can buy like an 8-inch Orange Crush squeegee instead. Yeah, that's exactly it. So this cost as a whole right now is $50. $30 of that is in the handle though. That's why I like the other handle that we have. This one is like $8. So 30 is always a little steep. But yeah, this at 40. I think it's kind of like that light that people were talking about. It's just, it's not that you wouldn't get some value out of it. It's just that you feel like it's a bit of a bad deal when you're buying it. Because you're like, I feel like a brush shouldn't be that expensive. Not made in China. Yeah. Yeah, I think if it comes out that there's just like an inexpensive place that they're coming from. Yeah. Then you're gonna start seeing them everywhere. Eventually you'll find them for like $10, if that's the case. But I don't know for sure. I just know Tint Buster sent it out, and I like the idea. Brushes come from. Oh, thought that was serious for a second. Scotch Brite blue. You can use, these are tri-edge blues, but you can use Scotch Brite blues. You can find them looking around for normal stuff that you'd be shopping for. All right, this one's a little damp. Grab another one. Oh, we're done with this one. I like it. Another one in. Repeat. Love it. You may or may not be getting those in a tint order. Where'd you get the laser engraver? Amazon. It's the something Pecker. Pecker's in the name. It's like $300. It's a really low power laser engraver. I went down that rabbit hole. Laser engravers are very expensive. This is a recording. You said Pecker. Yeah, because it's. I gotta look at the name again, but Pecker is in the name. Got it. Yeah, I mean, if you can. So I wanted. I mean, just think about it. If I bought 100 towels at $3 or 600 towels at $1.50, I'd be in it for the price of that thing. So we ship out a lot of orders. So I was looking for something I can do for that, and then also for our tint customers. So when they pick up their car, they get a bottle of glass cleaner and a engraved towel. We're looking for some of that stuff. Weirdest thing that you found in a car? Just your usual. Like a gun pointed in the wrong direction, some drugs. It's like very rare, but the gun ones definitely were a little fun. Scary, especially like when they're, pointed at you while you're working and then you move a seat and you're just like, oh, okay, what? Can you engrave your hard cards? I tried that. It's not very strong. So it'll put a very light. You got to use just a stronger laser engraver for that. And that's going to be, I don't know, 1,000 plus. Like, you can effectively engrave wood, paper, and pretty fragile materials. So, like, the towels work out great. Really plushy ones weren't so good. So, something that's a little bit thinner but still soft, the type of fibers mattered. But this worked out really, really nice. What's the point of the dryer sheet? Dryer sheet is to let the film kind of float. And then it acts as a tack paper. So when you smooth out the film, it just stays there. What percent? We did 35 on the shield, 20 on the doors. Total price $250. Yeah, this is Stelvio. Yep, carbon. All right. I can't buy reputable tint since you need a business. 313tint.com. Cool. Looks good. Alrighty, dudes. Did you use the gift card? Yeah. Yeah, we actually used it the same day. It was really good. Yes. Yeah, we went that same day. What was the tint website? One more time. 313tint.com. And right now we have a 5% Tint and Tools sale. Use this as the code, 313tint. And look. We got our display boards up. These are pretty sick. Let me show those quick. Oh, she's up front. Hang on. They look good. All right, I gotta take off. I gotta cash this one out. Coffee, snacks. Yes, those are up front. Bye.